all good. So today, if the idol in your life is your own wealth, I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm just saying put it in second place. Put it where it belongs. Put it third, fourth, fifth place. Put God in first place in your life. And then the money is no longer evil. Then with God in your heart, with God in first place in your life, you can use that money to be a blessing and do the right thing with it and bless others, create jobs, and become part of the solution. Again, let's see, what's the rest of that verse? For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some have coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Well, they've erred from their faith in God when they put their faith in themselves or in their money. When God is no longer the God of your money, when you make the decision, well, I'm going to go take everything, pack up my bags, and go over here, instead of saying, God, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to pay taxes here in America? Do you want me to help the people of America? Instead of praying and then trusting God and saying, it says, err from the faith. Have faith in God that He will keep your company prospering, even though you have to pay tithes and taxes. God is big enough to keep you prospering, even though you have to pay taxes here, even though you have to pay wages here that seem so high sometimes. You know, my son-in-law works for Toyota. He's only been working there about 5 years in Princeton, Indiana. He's making close to $27 an hour. Well, they don't have... Toyota refuses to allow them to have, labor, organized labor there. But they're blessed. You know, the people in this country who are part of the organized labor movement and the unions, you know, they don't have the solution either. God does. Isn't it funny that the companies that come here and establish things to help American citizens are prospering? And they're able to pay large wages in America, and they're still able to prosper. Well, guess what? If Toyota can do it, you can do it. All right? You can be a blessing right here in America, and you can still prosper. God will see to it if you'll decide to bloom where you're planted. All right. Well, they pierce themselves through with many sorrows. Well, we see those sorrows right now by turning on the TV and watching the news. This nation is full of many sorrows. Economically, on either side of the fence, the people, the Occupy Wall Street protesters, are full of many sorrows. No jobs, no home, no hope. The people on Wall Street side, they're full of many sorrows. The economy is collapsing in every company, every country, and every company. There is no stock out there you can say, well, this is the one that's going to be secure to invest in and ride out the storm. It's outside the storm. There aren't any stocks outside the storm. So you know what? You need to take your faith in yourself and in your own wealth, and you need to put that faith back in God and say, God, right now you need to, I've said that, I want to read some more. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17 and 19, it says, charge them that are rich in this world. And that's what I'm doing right here. I'm charging you. I'm not putting you down. I'm just charging you. I'm admonishing you. I'm begging you. The ones that are rich in this world, don't be high-minded and say, I made this for myself. I can decide what to do with it, how it's going to be spent. I can decide who gets it. That's high-mindedness. Let God decide. And you go along with what He says. And you'll enjoy your wealth so much more. And you'll see that it grows again. You can't make it grow. You're caught in the same trap as the rest of this world. If you're wicked, if you're being an unjust steward, the wealth that's in your hands is flowing. God is shaking you just as well. And the wealth that you have is going away. And you don't know where it's going. Well, God is putting it in His hands. And He's going to redistribute it. According to the prophecy in Haggai chapter 2, verse 6. If you want to reference that. It says, charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but trust in the living God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute. Well, that doesn't mean give it all away. You can distribute jobs here. You can distribute hope. You can, well, you know what you can do. Willing to communicate. That means you're willing to talk to the people who are without hope. You're willing to sit down with the people of Occupy Wall Street and cut some deals. And I've got the perfect deal for you to cut with them. The perfect punchline at the end of all this, if you'll hang with me to the end of this teaching. Willing to communicate, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. Well, when you're a good steward of the things in this life, then you're setting up your best opportunity to be able to participate in the afterlife and enjoy it as well. Lay up for yourselves a good foundation against the end times by giving to God what is His and being a good steward. Now, my last thought here, or note here, I want to make sure that's the last one, is this. The rich people in this country need to cut a deal with the Occupy protesters. They're protesting against you. And if you're not willing to communicate with them and get your thoughts across what you need before you can bring jobs back to this nation, then they are going to continue doing what they want to do. It says, I believe you need to let them know, here's what I think you need to do. If I were the wealthy group, I would say this. I would publish this to the Occupy protesters. This is what I would communicate to this nation. This. We have an election coming up next November. Here is who we would like to see as president. The wealthy people of this nation, there's 1% of you. 1% of the population cannot get a man elected. But if you use the money you got to advertise and communicate, if we could get this man, I'm not saying who he is, this man in office, the man who represents the fairest situation for you, who needs to create the jobs. I'm not saying gives you a free ride. There are people, one thing that the wealthy cannot stand in this country is a people who want a free ride. Your taxes have to go to pay for people who want free rides. Well, guess what? I know in your high-mindedness, you might think, well, I don't want a free ride either because I earn all this and I get to keep it. But here's the deal. If you want the cheapest and the easiest route possible that can be made possible for you through tax-wise and wages-wise, you may not see that you're wanting a free ride, but you're wanting the easiest ride you can get to get back as much as you can get back. But and listen to me, because I'm trying to give you a solution here that you can use. If you will say to the Occupy people, if you will give up on wanting the easiest ride you can get tax-wise and wages-wise and bring the jobs back to this country, let's say you're willing to do that, but you want a president in office that's going to be just to the wealthy people who can create the jobs. Let them know who that man is, who you want to see in. And in exchange for the rest of the population voting in who you want to see in, you make a vow to this country and to the Occupy Wall Street protesters, we will bring the jobs back. But you got to be willing to pay some taxes here. You got to be willing to pay fair wages here. You got to be willing to let God be God of your money. You got to be willing to be a blessing where you have been blessed. You got to be willing to be a good steward and quit whining and saying, I'm not going to give back to people who haven't earned this. This is mine. I will make the maximum amount and do with it what I want. Tell Occupy Wall Street, tell this nation who you want for president. Use your money, advertise, get on the news, say, we promise the wealthy 1% of this nation to bring the jobs back if we see this man get elected, who is going to represent our interest